Hi there. This is Les, and I'm going to talk about a little bit more about Russian learning for the next 4 videos. I'm going to do a series on how to learn Russian for under $1,000. And so the first video is going to be some resources in beginner resources, and then the next video will be intermediate, and then the next one will be advanced. And when I say advanced, it's more like upper intermediate. So why let me think, what was I going to say? Why do I say $1,000? That's because I believe that actually anyone can learn a language, and it's really only the only difference between the people that manage to learn second languages and adults. Sorry, cut that. I think anyone can learn a language as an adult, and the only difference between the people that do and the people that don't is really the level of determination and commitment. And it's the same thing as like learning to play an instrument or becoming a black belt in karate or something like that. It's exactly the same. Anyone can really do it. It's just that how much do you want it? So I went to live in Spain, for example, and I lived there in Tenerife in the Canary Islands for 8 years. And within 2 or 3 years, within 6 months, I was already speaking fairly okay. But within 2 years, I'd actually set up a business, and I was speaking to an accountant. So in many ways, I actually think about accounting terms as well, like, mortgages and, taxation and all these sort of things, right? So you don't see 2-year-old babies speaking to accountants. So I actually think that adults have a big advantage over children in learning languages. And we can, and I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the camera directly, but I'm ad-libbing, so it's just not scripted, so it's hard to focus on one spot all the time. So what I'm saying is that I went there and I became fluent, but there are people in Tenerife that live on the other side of the island that are immigrants, English actually, and they've been living there for maybe 10 or 20 years, and they don't even know how to order a sandwich in Spanish. So don't order. I would say to people, it's not correct to assume that just because you go to live in a country, you're automatically going to pick up the language and start speaking fluently. So it's really about the effort. And so I won't talk too much more about that, but why I say $1,000 is because the main thing with learning languages, it takes time. And for the Russian language, I think the Foreign Service Institute has said it takes 1,100 hours of practice. So the good news is, like, you can learn Russian, but the bad news is it's going to take you 1,100 hours, give or take a couple of hundred hours. It's not like at the 1,100, voila, you can speak it. So it's going to take that, and I'm not there yet. I'm maybe about 400 hours practice or something like that. Or I don't know. I've lost count. I don't even know. So it's really about the time, and time is money. And so if I were a rich person, I would just, and I wanted to learn any language, I would just hire someone to be with me 24/7 and speaking to me only in that language. And that's the way I would do it. And then you would be able to learn a language and correcting me, That's one way to do it. But that would cost, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a year, right? So no one can really afford to do that. And, the other way would be to get a tutor and do tutoring, and I don't think once a week is enough. It's got to be every day or a couple of days, right? So, but a tutor costs, $10, $20, $30 an hour, right? So, if you're talking about 1,000 hours at $20 an hour, that's $20,000, right? So there's a big cost element to it as well. So that's why I'm doing this video, to show you other ways that you can learn a language that if you're not living in the actual country, how you can get resources for Russian on the internet. So we'll start. So the first one is actually Google, and I mainly put this up, everybody knows about it already, I mainly put this up because it's a nice screen to start on. And you know, you just put in what you want and you get out whatever you want. And the great thing with this, over and above like a traditional electronic translator, you know, those ones I have, no, I don't have it with me, but I bought one when I was in Spain in Spanish, and I had an electronic translator and it helped me a lot. This was before Google Translate. But the thing with that was it could only translate one word at a time, not a sentence. So the great thing about this is you can translate a whole sentence, right? And you already know that. And I would suggest to everybody in the beginner stage, and this entire video is going to be just about beginners, is to put it on your phone as an app, you know, and just refer to it as you know, throughout the day. If you want to know what a word is, go straight to your phone app. So that's the first one, and it's free. So the first resource I have for you is this Collins Russian Gem phrase book. Okay, this book right here, it has 1-star review. If you look at the review, it says, this book might be good for travelers, but I'm learning Russian and past this stage of the book. I would think it would be good for tourists. Well, if he's past the stage of that book, that was good for him. So you can't learn a language with just one resource. So that is not a fair review. I give this book, I have it here. It's right here, I have it. In fact, I have all the languages that I want to learn. I have the Italian one, I have the Spanish one, and I have some other ones just in case, right? So they're very good, and I'll explain why. And I'll try and speed this up because it's going to be a very long video if not. This other guy is explaining it's got small text. Just ignore those reviews and buy this book. I have the book with the rounded corners on it because it will get very dog-eared if you don't buy the one with the rounded corners. You can tell the one with the rounded corners because it has like octagonal font where it says phrase book. So this is that version. What I do is, the reason why it's good is because it doesn't have too much grammar in it. It's got just the main vocabulary and a little mini dictionary in the back. Right? Like that. Alright, now explain why this is good for you. Because, okay, there was 20 years ago I actually wanted to learn Russian. 20 years ago, when I was about 20 years old. And I went into the bookstore, as you did back then before the internet. And I bought this book right here, right? This is the actual book that I bought 20 years ago. You can see it's like, it's all yellow. The edges are yellow, right? So I took one look in this book. And it just overwhelmed me, right? At that point I could read Cyrillic, but that's about all I could do. I just learned Cyrillic. I went to Russia, learned Cyrillic. It helped, but Cyrillic is not Russian. So anyway, I took one look in this book, and I looked at all the words, and I just got overwhelmed. It's too much, right? And I quit. That was it. I gave up. I thought it's too hard. It's too hard books. I'll never learn Russian. But this was the only resource, and I saw other books there, but I thought, well, I'll just get this one, and it didn't work out because it was just, I thought, well, if you want to learn a language, you buy a dictionary, and that's all you got to do. Well, that's wrong. So there's too many. It's too much. If you want this, get it later when you're a bit more advanced, intermediate. So anyway, getting back to this one. Yeah, so what it is, it's almost actually like a frequency dictionary. They're called frequency dictionaries that give you only the high frequency words, not all, because when you're starting to learn, you don't want to be able to say, I don't know, sewer or drain or something like that. You want to be able to say table, cup, house, right? So this book has, I think it's, I'm not sure, I think it's 2,000 word vocabulary. Sorry, it says 3,000 words. So what I do is I have a technique with this one book, and I won't go into the other reviews of the other things in this detail. But what I do is I highlight all the words that I know with a yellow texter, like a fluoro or yellow texter. So when I know them, I highlight them, and then that way I do that maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. Come back and I look at this, and I can see some improvement. I can see like more things are getting highlighted. And then what I also do is circle the words that I want to learn. As I'm scanning through the dictionary, I circle in pencil the ones that I want to know. So they're the ones that I've got to practice. And so it's a great way of sort of seeing improvement. Okay, and also, for example, if your phone battery dies or something like that, and you're in a waiting room, you just pick up this book and start learning. So that's that. I highly recommend that little book there. And it's only about, what is it? It's like, it's not actually £90. It's like $5 or something. This is wrong. This is one of the, you know how sometimes that happens. It's not £90 for sure. The Kindle version is £5. And anyway, you'll see. When you find it, you'll see. And you can also go to Book Depository. It'll be there. So the next one I would suggest is Visual Russian English Dictionary, and I'll just talk about why I'm giving you dictionaries to start with, because where is my thing here? So learning a language you've got several parts. You've got like the vocabulary, you've got the speaking, you've got the listening, you've got writing, you've got reading, and you've got grammar, right? I think I've covered everything. And you've got pronunciation, right? So you need to know the words to be able to communicate. And, why I say this is the best method is if you just turn on the news and start listening to something in Russian, you won't understand a single word, and it will actually turn you off. You'll be sitting there all day, and you won't get it. So this is the way to learn. Like what I'm saying is, in the beginning, you want to be learning like single words. Then, after you get a bit better, you want to be learning phrases. And then later on, you're going to be learning like paragraphs. If you sort of think of it like that, right? So this one here, I have it here again, and it's really good. You could see it online. On the thing. It's really good for if you're actually with someone. It has all like the I'll wait till that focuses. It has all the fruits and all the foods and everything, okay? But the thing with this one resource is it's only nouns, things. There's hardly any verbs in this book. So I actually have a couple, like I have the Italian one as well. And so I recommend you get that. I also recommend this book here. And I haven't bought it, but I have the Italian version, so I know that's actually pretty good. I do have this one here as well, Learning Russian. Oops. I have the older version, right? So this is a beginner text. People complain that it doesn't have Cyrillic. But when you're beginning, you don't want to be seeing a wall of Cyrillic because you won't it'll just, you want to be gradually getting, increasing your levels. Not like 3 levels. It's just a continuous ramp, right? So it's actually an easy to read book, and it's well formatted. So I bought that secondhand for like $10 or something, right? And there's also this book here, Russian for Dummies. I didn't buy it. Yeah, at the time. I'll explain maybe a little bit why in the second video. I just thought I'll see how I go with that one, and yeah. But either one of those would be good. You can't go wrong for the money. So there's some of the books that I recommend for beginner stages. Now I've got another thing. I'm going to show you something else, another trick of mine. Put this away over here. Is these language stickers, and you don't see many people talking about these.